Welcome to the Crawford Movie Podcast Fantasy Six Nations picks for Gameweek 1. Here are our players to watch and the pod squad. Gameweek 1 we see Scotland play Ireland, England versus France, Italy versus Wales. Our first player to watch is CJ Stander, the Irish back row. He's had a great season for Munster and he has great man of the match potential. Our second player to watch is Owen Farrell. He's got a great kicking conversion for England at 84%. Now next close to that is Johnny Wilkinson with 86%, George Ford has 81%, and to give us some contrast, Danny Cipriani with 74%. Our third player to watch is Baptiste Serin, as backup scrum half for France. He was fantastic in the tour to Argentina, scoring 24 points in 5 caps, and he's definitely one who'll come on over the next few seasons. On to the squad. In the front row, I've gone for Furlong, Neal and Guirado. Furlong impressed against the All Blacks and with his aggressive style will probably have a line selection. He's 30% owned and a good pick for Ireland's potentially impressive run. WP Nell is another aggressive front row, 27% ownership, and he might barrel his way over for a try or two. Guirado, the French captain, is one of the highest picks with 73%. He was in great form last year and it's always good to have a captain in your side as he'll often make full match appearances and have man of the match potential. In the second row we have Johnny Gray, who's been outstanding for Glasgow Warriors. He's currently on 39% ownership and he's part of a side that absolutely demolished Leicester. To partner him we've got the Welsh captain Wyn Jones. He's also another captain pick and he'll often find himself with man of the match awards. He's at 50% ownership and a good choice for your second row. The alternative obviously is Maro Itoje, who's on 72%, which is really high, so if he does perform, I'll be left out in the cold. In the back row, we've got CJ Stander, as mentioned before, Tipuric for Wales, and Peakamols. Tipuric is a favourite of mine, barely missing any tackles for the Ospreys this season. He's only 34% owned. Peakamols, however, is 48% owned, and the Northampton Saint has been a strong ball carrier and often gains huge metres or yards after contact. Another player of note who would be good for selection is Toby Faletau for Wales, who's on 27% ownership. As we go towards the backs, we've got Ben Youngs, who is in fine form coming off some awesome games in the autumn internationals. It's very close to pick between him and Laidlaw. Ben Youngs is currently third most popular pick, with Murray coming in second, but I believe he's going to have many tries to his name. At fly half we've got Finn Russell, who's been excellent again for Glasgow. He might be an interesting differential pick here. He's only 15% owned, and if Scotland turned up you'll be with some points. Owen Farrell obviously picks himself with 64% ownership, and Jonathan Josephs is at 47% ownership. It's hard not to pick Jonathan Josephs, as this centre can easily score 2 or 3 tries a game. This combination is the most popular pairing at the moment. Owen Farrell will also be my designated kicker. As we move on to the back three, I've gone for Zebo, who can be electric at times, and he's on 19% ownership. Seymour, who's an interesting alternative to Hogg, and is on 12% ownership, and then we've got Vakatawa, who's on 33% ownership and is definitely a forceful winger who likes to get involved. Other players to note are Halfpenny, who's coming back to Wales after a long period of injury, and Watson, who's just been ruled out. North has been highly picked at 38%, but I'm slightly worried about his potential for concussion. That percentage is because they're playing Italy this week, who aren't as weak as you'd think. Stuart Hogg obviously is leading the poll with 68%, so again I might have to change Seymour to him depending on how I feel later on in the week. If you fancy joining our podcast league, find the link on the screen now and the pin number. And also remember to listen to the Crawford Movie Podcast for more tips and also hear of any final changes made to the squad.